channel, and if you're new here, my name is Kaylin and I'm doing a no-buy month for the month of October, and I've been making videos about frugal living and tips that I've used over the years to help us save money. And I was just thinking up some more when I was on my morning walk with my dog. I've got into a pattern now of taking him for a walk for about an hour after I drop the girls at school if we don't walk on the school run, and it just gives you a lot of time to reflect and appreciate nature and just come up with ideas. So number one is to do the playful things that you did as a kid. If you enjoyed things as a kid when you were having fun and just not thinking too hard about what you were doing and just doing what felt good, you probably will still enjoy those things now. And I think there's a tendency to become too serious as adults and not kind of tap into our playful sides, but I think it's when we do those things that we enjoy life the most. And it can be the simplest things. If you just think back to when you were a kid, what did you enjoy then? And I'm sure most of the things that you enjoyed didn't involve spending money because you probably didn't have any to spend at the time. So I really love going for walks with my dog and my kids, and I love autumn and the crunchy leaves underfoot, and I just love walking through piles of crunchy leaves even as an adult. It's just so satisfying, and the colours are so pretty. And my kids and I love collecting conkers together. Every autumn we'll make a point of going to a conker tree to collect them because there's a cluster of horse chestnut trees at the museum, and they have tons of conkers all over the ground, and it's just a really nice activity. It's slow, it doesn't involve spending any money, and it's satisfying. And another thing I really love that I did when I was younger is I love jumping into the pool and just messing about in the pool with my kids. You can be really serious as an adult and just feel like you have to do lengths all the time, which I also enjoy, but sometimes it's fun to just mess about, jump in the pool, do tumbles in the water. And these things might not appeal to you at all, but if you think about the things that you personally enjoyed as a child, you'll probably come up with loads of ideas of things that you can do for free now. My second idea of things to do instead of spending money is to learn something new. For example, educate yourself about a subject you don't feel like you know enough about. I feel like I have a lot of gaps in my knowledge because I didn't pay that much attention in school when we were doing history and geography. And at the time, it just didn't really interest me very much. I was more focused on other subjects and I just didn't really pay attention. I spaced out a lot whenever we were learning about those things. So I think now, I'm actually finding that I learn little facts and things just through reading with my kids. And I find children's encyclopedias really good for adults too, because the information is presented in a way that is easy to absorb and it's not boring. It has to be interesting. It's broken up with pictures, there's jokes thrown in there, and it makes it stick in your memory better than if you read a really heavy book as an adult. And I know you can always go on and find more detail after you've kind of learned the basics, but just to get an overview of something you don't know, it's a really good way to educate yourself about it and gain knowledge and also fill your time without spending money. And there's so many of those books at the library too. Tip number 3 is to make a bug hotel. This seems like a really random idea, but it was something that my kids' school actually suggested we do at home whenever they were off and we were homeschooling, and it was really easy to do. I know that you can build elaborate ones. I'm not somebody that feels confident with a hammer and nails and a saw or whatever, so I'm always going to go for the easy option. And the one that we used was cutting the top and bottom off a plastic bottle, hanging it up with string and then just filling it with twigs and leaves. And if you just put it in your garden somewhere where you think that the bugs will be attracted to it, it's just a nice mindful way to pass an afternoon, and just it feels like you're doing something for nature and to help the environment in your own garden. And even if you don't have a garden, you can always do it on a balcony or put it on your windowsill outside if you can figure out a way to hang it there. And it's just another activity that you might have enjoyed when you were younger, and it doesn't require too much thought. Tip number 4 for a free thing to do instead of spending money is to sketch your day loosely. Even if you aren't a natural artist and you don't really enjoy drawing, if you just do like very quick sketches to summarize what you've been doing throughout the day or the week, it can be really relaxing, and you don't have to think about how it looks. You're just doing a very rough sketch. You can do it in seconds, and it can just like basically keep a little log of what you've been doing and give you ideas while you're doing it. And I feel like sometimes you don't, even though I love art and I love to paint, I don't always want to commit to a full day of doing a really detailed painting. So sometimes if you just do like freehand kind of quick sketches with a pencil, like no tools required, no setup required, it can just be really satisfying. My next tip for free things to do without spending money is to have coffee in your garden, or tea or hot chocolate or whatever your preferred drink is. Even if it's winter or autumn, like whenever the weather's colder, I still love to go outside. And if you just have a little chair somewhere in your garden, or if you have a balcony or an outdoor space like a porch, and even if you don't have that, you can just take a cup with you to the park, wrap up warm, sit on a bench and just like watch the world go by and enjoy your drink. And I just feel like it refreshes me. And if I'm struggling to get through the day and do certain things and stay focused, as I find I tend to do, because I have bipolar disorder and my moods can change and it's hard sometimes for me to stay focused on tasks, it just resets everything and it just changes the whole feel to the day. So that's something I would recommend doing, and it doesn't cost anything. My next tip for something free to do instead of spending money is to try scrapbooking. It's an activity that I loved doing as a kid because my mom would give us her card making supplies and just a big book, and it doesn't even have to involve buying supplies. Like, you can just use bits and pieces of things that are already lying around the house, a bit like making collages you can cut out of magazines. You can draw pictures and stick them in. You can copy out quotes from your favourite books. You can write inspiring like comments that you think of that you want to put in it. You can just make it completely personal and just use what you have on hand. You can use different colours and just like do a pretty background. It doesn't have to be anything complicated, and it's only for your eyes, but it's just something that fills the time and it makes you feel like you've been productive, and it's much more satisfying than going out and spending money for no real reason. Tip number 9 for something free to do instead of spending money is to daydream. This might seem like a really silly and obvious tip, but I think we forget to do it nowadays, and we don't really have much time set aside just to daydream anymore. Like, I remember years ago just like lying in bed. I know I had more time because I wasn't a mum and I didn't have any responsibilities, but I remember lying in bed and just like kind of studying like the patterns and the curtains and the walls and like just thinking about things. And I don't feel like I really do that a lot anymore. I think it's too easy for us to always fill the gap with our phone and to not allow ourselves to have any downtime, and it's really overstimulating for our brains. And then when it does come time to rest, we don't know how to switch off. I find that I'm not really somebody who's very good at just sitting and daydreaming and doing nothing. So I find the things that allow me to daydream best are going for a walk and allowing my mind to wander, not filling it with something all the time. Even though I like to listen to music and podcasts and stuff, I don't always. Sometimes I just like let ideas flow through my mind, or just let myself observe my environment. And I just think like there are lots of situations where you can do that. You can daydream while you're doing the dishes. You can daydream while you're having a shower or bath. You can daydream if you're struggling to get to sleep at night. It's just like the art of daydreaming, I feel like it's kind of been lost, and it's not given the value that it deserves to have, because it's seen as like a waste of time, but actually most of the time we waste, I think, is probably online. And my final tip for something free to do instead of spending money is to have a bath or shower in the middle of the day. Like, I think sometimes we forget to make time for ourselves just to relax, and if you happen to have a day off and you've got an afternoon when you can do that, or if you have kids, if they're at school, or if you happen to get home early from work, just go and have a shower or bath and take your time over it. Bring a glass of wine with you, or a cup of tea, or whatever it is you feel you would like to have to relax. I like to bring a magazine into the bath with me, even though it always gets wet, and just like allow yourself to just lie there or just like zone out and just enjoy like creating your own little space in the world that no one else can invade, and where you can feel fully refreshed after it. And I just think whenever you do that, whenever you get into clean jammies and like you've changed the sheets in your bed, there's just nothing nicer than that, and it's so simple and it's free to do. So thanks for watching. I hope that these tips were helpful, and hi to any new subscribers, thanks for joining me. And yeah, feel free to comment below, like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.